So welcome to this week's media brief. I hope everyone had a safe and happy 4th of July. I want to start off by thanking our fire and police staff and their enforcement and work to keep us safe this past holiday weekend. As reported earlier this week, crews issued 88 citations and dispatchers took over 1,100 calls. Last week, one of the reasons why we told folks that we are going to have people out there making sure that the fireworks that are being used in our city aren't the type that could actually burn down your neighbor's house. We were hoping to avoid folks using those fireworks, and sadly we do have 88 citations, but again, I think everyone kind of gets it. We're in the situation where we want to make sure that we keep our neighbors' homes safe and also keep people safe. So 88 citations, took over 1,100 calls. Our crews and dispatchers worked around the clock to keep our community safe and responding to the concerns, and we are very thankful for them. So just wanted to publicly thank our firefighters and our police and also our but the folks answering the phones. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about traffic safety. Today, we have with us Gary Jansen and Mike Armour from Public Works. And we're always looking for ways to ensure that our streets are as safe for vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists as possible. So drivers will soon be able to see a new signal at certain intersections, helping drivers know when it is safe to make left turns. So here to talk to us about this is Mike, and I'll tell you that this is a very hot topic over in the communications office. They've been very excited to talk about this, so go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. What we'll be implementing is called a flashing yellow arrow, and it'll start debuting on our new traffic signals that'll be installed in the city. It will not be a widespread change, but you'll start to see these as new signals get designed and constructed. At signalized intersections, there's often a separate signal indication to let drivers making a left turn know when they either have a safe and guarded movement, which we call protected, or when they must yield to oncoming traffic, which we call permissive. In a protected left turn, drivers see a green arrow and are protected from opposing traffic, which is stopped. But in a permissive left, drivers can only turn when there is a safe gap in oncoming traffic, which has historically been conveyed to motorists by a circular green light. A national study had been conducted over the years and found that a flashing yellow turn signal for this permissive turn has shown some benefit in reducing left turn crashes, in some cases by as much as 20%, again, depending on the intersection and the background or the situation going on at each intersection. The studies determined that the flashing yellow arrow is more effective at communicating to drivers that they must yield before turning left. A lot of that is due to the association that people have with a flashing yellow light and the need to exhibit caution before making the movement. The West Street project from Kellogg to Harry will be the first in the city to utilize this new flashing yellow arrow. It goes into effect at the intersections of Walker and West Street and Harry and West Street. The city will use the flashing yellow arrow on all new traffic signals where appropriate. We won't be able to use it in every location. A lot of that will be determined because of roadway geometry and turning movements possibly being from the through lane, which cannot overlap in the signal head configuration. Existing signal indications will remain as the circular green light and will only be retrofitted if there's a concern brought to us about a safety issue potentially going on, at which point we would conduct an engineering study to see if it's feasible to swap out the head with a flashing yellow arrow. There are approximately 480, almost 500 signalized intersections in the city of Wichita. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Excuse me. So with that, we're going to just jump into our backpack program. With summer in full swing, we have a variety of great classes, summer camps, and activities to keep kids busy and engaged. Be sure to check out our Evolve guide on wichita.gov to check out all of the different offerings we have. And we're also excited to offer our Venture backpacks. The Great Plains Nature Center has put together free wetland backpacks for 2nd through 6th graders to explore the great outdoors or just their own backyard. So we're going to begin handing out the backpacks. I guess we did that yesterday is when we started. And as of this morning, all 50 backpacks at the Nature Center have been given out, but there are still supplies available at the Edgemore Recreation Center at 5815 East 9th Street. We do plan on to do a similar giveaway in August as well, so please be sure to follow the Great Plains Nature Center on Facebook for updates. Also, just an update on the non-discriminatory ordinance. This week, the council passed the first read of the non-discriminatory ordinance, and frankly, it will go to second read next week, but there's some interesting tidbits here that have been different than other stuff that we have passed before. We pretty much did a reset on the process. We had folks after the first NDO was passed 3 weeks ago, say, hey, we want more time to do outreach to the community. And during that time, there were some thoughts about we want to make sure the policy is the best policy we can have. So with that, we did have our staff, our legal team came back and created a much better, I believe, policy that allows a local opportunity to enforce really what are our state laws now, just like we do in other areas of our ordinance. And with that, we did somewhat of a reset on the policy. I'm happy to say that of everything we voted on this year, we've had more public engagement in this topic than anything so far, even more so, I believe, than our budget at this point, which is probably one of the most important votes we take. So we have a lot of folks who have been coming in and voicing their opinions, a lot of emails. I personally had, I think, 3 different public forums the last 2 weeks on this. Our DABs have had an opportunity to weigh on this. And more importantly, groups that actually face discrimination have had an opportunity to weigh in on this. I've reached out to groups who work with veterans, who are coming out of homelessness and talk about how their clients, once they're back on their feet, might face discrimination in housing based off the stereotypical views that the landlord might have for those veterans. Also, the AARP is reporting now that folks over 50 are experiencing discrimination trying to get back into the workforce. This would allow a local opportunity to ensure that those folks can seek resolution without having to pay, the most expensive lawyer prices that you would need if you go to the state level. In addition, we see the Urban League, who just published in the Community Voice a discussion about the need for these type of laws to pass on the federal level, but still talked about how discrimination is here today. We also, I believe, the Senator Faust-Cadeau discussed how the Racial Profiling Board was in favor of this as well. We did have a very robust conversation last Tuesday. I'm very sad at some of the miscommunication about what this bill does and where it goes. And luckily, we had our legal staff who was there to clear up, I think, some of those concerns that people might have, that those in positions of leaderships. I think I've misled folks in what this does, and the Eagle reported on that not too long ago. But again, this is just a local way to enforce the laws that are currently on the books in Kansas, just like we do with domestic violence, just like we do with other things here at the local level. So we're hoping that once again, this will get the necessary votes to pass. Wichita will then will be the 22nd city in Kansas to have a local opportunity to get issues of discrimination on housing, public accommodations, and employment settled. And I guess, I'm going a little long, but I guess I'll just say again that churches, nonprofit organizations, they are excluded from this. This follows the Kansas Religious Freedom Act, where pretty much right now, if you are lawful and you are a lawful organization, this will not affect you. This will only affect people who are currently not lawful, or people who might not know they can't discriminate, which is part of the reason why the mediation process is so important, to hopefully get folks who discriminate, I guess without knowing it, back into legal grounds. So with that, we can open up for questions.
On the traffic lights.
Really, traffic lights? No, I'm just kidding.
I
can
was
totally fit this
wondering
maybe
about
on.
why these two particular intersections were chosen as opposed to maybe in the downtown area.
So it just happened that these were the next intersections that were being designed and under construction when we were adopting this new standard of the flashing yellow arrow.
Which intersections did you say were going to be the first ones?
These are two intersections on West Street, at Walker and at Harry. I believe the one at Walker is in effect now. The one at Harry, if it's not now, it should be very soon, as they're waiting for some hardware to arrive to allow that indication to go into effect.
So there's others planned down the road.
Yes, Hoover and Zoo Boulevard, I believe, would be the next one, and I don't know all the other intersections the next intersections that would be designed. I'm not sure of which intersections that would be.
So does it have something to do with, it's like flow of traffic, like traffic count? I mean, how do you decide, how you're going to put these in these areas?
It would determine on traffic flow or volumes of left turns. That would probably determine whether or not we're going to have a dedicated left turn lane with a signal overhead. If that's the case, you have two options. You can either do a protected only, which means you only make your maneuver on a green arrow. And you see that pretty frequent at a lot of our large arterial intersections where there's the dual lane lefts. This would not affect that, because you can only make that maneuver on the green arrow, the protected arrow. This simply replaces the green ball on the permissive phase. So that could be at an intersection where there's first a protected phase followed by a permissive, or there are some intersections where it's just a permissive all the time. Thank you.
Further questions? All right. Wait, thanks. Why are you laughing, Megan? I bet something funny is going on online. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate you being here, and see you all next week. And if anything comes up between now and then, feel free to call. Thank you.